So we've still got a huge gap between where we are now, AI and ideas, and the whole idea of actually creating a usable design, not just an idea, and then building this thing too. Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I've got Ryan King back with me this week. And if you didn't hear last week, we talked about AI integration into landscape design and how it's helping us streamline that process to improve our customer experiences, cut timelines, and not take away from the creativity that we all love to be part of, right? It's the whole idea of taking sounds like, words people say and turning it into a design and then turning it into a place you can walk through, right? That's never going to change. It's just a matter of how we do it. So last week, if you didn't listen, go back and listen to last week about, Ryan and I talked a lot about how to integrate, how he's integrating it into his design practice. He does design work for a lot of contractors in our industry and even some homeowners. So he's looking for ways all the time to utilize this technology. So Ryan, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. I'm excited to have this follow-up conversation. Like Josh was saying, we had a great conversation last week. So if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, definitely do so. And I'm excited to see where this conversation goes this week.
Absolutely, brother. I'm so excited to have you back on. I figured if there's anybody I want to talk to about this subject, it'd be you because your thumb is all over this, right? So tell us a little bit about who you serve and what those projects look like and all that. You were so gracious to help us with our outdoor living mastery. The last event we did with that gigantic structure. And I mean, that was like a $750,000 project that we finished in a week.
Yeah.
That was nuts, but you were such a critical part in that. And I'm so thankful that you were part of that, dude, because you made it so easy for us. So tell us a little bit about what you do and all that.
Yeah, that was an awesome experience to be a part of as well. So to give you a little background information on me, I work for primarily contractors and homeowners all across the United States, basically creating incredible outdoor living packages, anything stemming from simple patios with maybe a fire pit on it, all the way to complete backyard resorts with custom pools, structures, lighting, landscaping. And my goal as a designer is just to provide the contractor, but also the homeowner with just incredible visuals of how we could really take their backyard to a whole new level, from just a basic paver patio to a complete outdoor resort where they can just step out into their backyard and entertain friends and family for years to come.
Excellent. No, I love that, man. And I love your design work. It's just, it's amazing how you can do it and how quick you can do it. That's really the cool part. That really amazes me, but it's because you're integrating tools that can help you on the back end, right? So we talked about how to create, plant lists and everything from a design by just dragging and dropping that into chat and asking it with a certain prompt. And the next thing you know, it spits it out for you incredibly accurately. Yeah. And that saves you time. And you do that over and over and over again. It saves you time. And any misspellings, it'll pick up on. Like there's so many things it does. So thank you for that last week.
Yeah.
But this week I want to get deeper into, when it comes to AI, we know that it's the future. We know it's coming. We know we're not going to stop. This is like the invention of the internet or going from a square wheel to a round wheel, right? Yeah. It's like things are going to change big time here. And this is going to be the time we look back on it. Remember, it's kind of like with the smartphone too. Remember when we didn't have a phone in our pocket? Remember we had to go to the wall and use that cord and how inefficient that was? And now we have one that does everything in our pocket. Mm. That's like 1% of what AI is going to be in the next 5 years to humanity on a global scale. Yeah. You think about what Musk is doing with all the satellites in the sky. Pretty soon, internet is going to be available to every human that has access to the sky and a device, right? So that's coming. So the connection is there. Now it's a matter of the platforms, and these platforms are thinking agents, right? They think. They don't just do. You don't just ask a query like you would on Google, and all of a sudden something pops up based on an algorithm. This actually does the quote unquote thinking for you, which is a little scary when it comes to human cognition. But that's a whole nother episode. But today, what I want to get into is how AI, how do we build a partnership in your business between AI and what I like to call HI, which is human intelligence. So you have artificial intelligence, chat, Claude, then you have human intelligence, because you know what? We know you can click a button and then put a picture up of your backyard, put it in the chat and tell you what it wants and then or what you want. And it'll kick you out some designs. Some are ugly, some are good, some are amazing. Like you just don't know. But Chat doesn't have a button yet that I've seen. Maybe you've got this version where you click a button and it says build, right? It doesn't do that yet, or even give you build plans. So there has to be this bridge, this connection between the ideas that AI brings out and being able to actualize them in a way that we can actually build them as contractors, right? So there's that gap. So I'd love to hear some thoughts about, AI and its pretty pictures and how it doesn't read grade changes or solve drainage problems or can't build really, definitely can't build anything. Yeah. So how are you utilizing this to that bridge between AI and HI?
Yeah. So one of the key things we were talking about last week too is AI is basically a visualization and a communication tool. It's not going to be a shortcut. It'll help you save time on the design end, but it's not going to help you bring these projects to life. So you're still meeting with the homeowner in their backyard. You're still taking the full site analysis, your dimensions on the house, the grades, any sort of mechanicals, utilities, things in the backyard that you got to work out for. Because no matter how beautiful that AI image works, if it doesn't follow setback rules, if it doesn't meet the grade changes, then obviously it's not going to work. So when you're working with these AI images, again, look at it as a communication tool and not the final design. You're just trying to promote clarity with that homeowner, be on the same page with them. Because then once you get into the CAD plans and the actual specifications, now you can start laying it out with that site analysis, making sure you have the right amount of steps, making sure you have the right amount of retaining walls. You're going to be looking at your drainage plans, your electrical layouts, your utility layouts. So there's so many aspects that AI isn't solving for you, which is why AI is not a design tool. Like I said, it's just a communication tool, but it's a phenomenal communication tool. It's your job as a designer to really lay that project out in the backyard and make it all come to life with a game plan and an accurate set of construction plans.
No, that's right, because it is that functional kind of like that gateway picture. Like, hey, do you like it or don't you like? And then we have to actually take it and make it actionable. So, listeners, the main thing that I want you to understand is even when AI in 5 years from now is like eons beyond where it is now.
Yeah.
It still someone needs to be accountable to this, right? You think about imagine a day in the future, Ryan, where you get the design, you like it, and it's so clean, like you get it down, you can speak it and it happens, right? You don't have to type it, you speak it and it happens. Yeah. And you have the design, you as far as the 3D rendering of the design, you look at it, homeowner loves it. Now you got to take it back and figure out all those dimensions because nothing is real there. It's all just a thing, right? So if a homeowner says, yeah, build me this, you're like, I don't know if that's 16 or 20 feet. I don't know if it's is that lounge chair actually to scale or is it too small? Right. Is like, there's so many things that we know in real life in our design software that we can actually see and say, okay, well, 18 inches is the right amount for that. 4 foot behind the chair is a good transition. Like all of these we know that stuff. Yeah. Eventually I think it'll be smart enough for that, but it's definitely not there yet.
Right.
But there's going to be a day when you're going to be able to click a button and it's going to be able to put out plans for you. I mean, if you go like to Dex.com, you can go on there, it'll spit plans out. But a lot of times they suck. Yeah. Right? Yeah. They're not, the homeowner wants to hold somebody accountable to bringing this idea to life. Yeah. And they can't hold a machine accountable. Yeah. If they say, you know what, I got all my plans from Chat or from wherever, some other .com place, and they go to build this thing and it doesn't work, they can go back and try to sue them or hold them accountable. The problem is Chat doesn't care. Yeah. It doesn't care. When you hire a company, you have somebody to go back to if it doesn't work out, and they're held accountable to the decisions that were made when it comes to the construction side. So we've still got a huge gap between where we are now, AI and ideas, and the whole idea of actually creating a usable design, not just an idea, and then building this thing too. So there's still a big gap there yet that still needs to be traversed. And I don't think you're going to see robots out there building patios and decks in our lifetime, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe in 10 years I'll be eating my words. Yeah. But imagine a world where that happens, right? Imagine a world where AI comes up with the design, it comes up with the plans, and that goes directly into that robot. You buy 5 of them, whatever, and they work 24 hours a day building stuff. Like, wouldn't that be insane? Yeah.
I mean, around your backyard.
Musk is already talking about a lot of this stuff with humanoid robots and all that, and this consistent intelligence inside of them through AI. But if you can feed them the information, all the plans, and they would know exactly what to do, imagine that. Right. I think we may see that in our lifetime. I don't know. Yeah. But it's crazy to think, what are people going to be doing with themselves if they've got robots doing everything, cleaning their house for them, washing the car, like walking the dog? Like, do we just sit and look? Like, what do we do as humans, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Anyway,
Yeah.
crazy, crazy
But
stuff. But
yeah,
I
so
want
that's
to,
where that like you were saying, that's where AI could also make or break you too. I mean, like we talked about last week, it's a phenomenal tool, but you could have an incredible first meeting with that homeowner showing some incredible renderings from a chat GPT type service. But then all of a sudden, when it comes time for actual construction, or when it comes time when the homeowner says, hey, can I see the construction plans? If all of a sudden your dimensions and grades aren't working out, or you're having
yeah,
drainage issues on site, or your utilities aren't working out, that's all of a sudden could take a big toll on your business, not only financially, but just from a reputation standpoint as well. So that's where, like you were talking about with that human interaction, we want to make sure we're following through with this incredible design process. But okay, now the homeowner's happy with the images they're seeing. How do we actually bring these to life and make sure everything it works and is functional?
yeah, yeah. Because at the end of the day, it has to pen out, right? If they've got 36 inches of grade differentiation between the threshold of the door that heads to the backyard called the patio door and the grass, like there's 36 inches. Does AI, like you can tell it that, but does it care? Does it know enough to
Right.
care about that yet, right? And that there's a, 12% pitch off the back of the property. Does it know how to calculate that over the distance? And I think the answer is over time it will be able
Right.
to, but it's nowhere near now. So if you're contractors and listeners and everybody out there that hears this, make sure that if you do this, to make sure you actually take your ruler out there and double check everything. It is not perfect. It is far from perfect.
Yeah.
But if you utilized it at this point in 2026, in June of 2026, if you utilize it for its functional purpose of being an inspirational tool, not a construction tool, it's good.
Yeah.
Right? If it's all about inspiration, but when it comes to that handoff, that bridge between artificial intelligence and the human intelligence, we need to bring in our skill set, our years of knowledge on how to pitch these things, how to move water around, how to get the water out of there. Like water's a big problem. Also, like how to organize things. It might put the grill 16 feet from the house, where we know that the closer it is to the house, not up against it, of course, but closer to the house, the more likely they're going to use it because they don't have to go as far, right? Thinking like that, does it have that kind of knowledge? And I think eventually one day it will, but it doesn't yet. So we still have to guide it with our own human intuition and intelligence to make sure we can make sure it's usable at the end and not something fancy. And you build the thing exactly the way chat tells you, and a homeowner walks out and hates it
Yeah.
because they're like, none of this makes any sense. It's not how humans use stuff. It's not human behavior to walk that far to the grill. It's not human behavior to sit out in the blaring sun on the south side of the house in Arizona to have dinner. Like it's too hot. We need structure. We need shade. We need wind. We need like the things that only we as humans would know to add into that space to make it functional, and the questions that we would ask to make sure we included those features through our design, our sales process, is the important part, because at the end of the day, the human uses the space. AI just helps the human through the I'm not sure what I want yet phase.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And once we get to the other side of that, we've gone from consideration, right, to commitment. That's the line we've got to cross. So we go from consideration. AI can help us in the consideration side. Now we've got commitment side. The humans better be there because somebody's got to be held accountable to bringing this thing to life. So we can't give all those responsibilities up to a machine yet, hopefully never. But the reality is this is happening, and it's happening fast, and we better either adapt or we're going to be put to the pasture.
Yeah. And we use AI just simply as a way to bridge the communication gap between us and the homeowner. So the homeowner has all these ideas stuck in their head that they're trying to convey to us so we can create design. And that's simply it. We want to take those ideas out of that homeowner's head, generate a quick image, see how fast we can do it. And now all of a sudden, now we're taking it to the human interaction phase where how do we make this all come to life? And that's strictly for today, how we should look at AI. AI is obviously evolving extremely fast. In a few years, it's going to be totally different from where it is today. But from today's perspective, it's strictly a creativity tool. It's a great, like we were talking about earlier too, a great coach where we can bounce ideas off of it and get some insight on different things we should try to utilize. But for right now, from a design perspective, it's really key that you're still getting out there, taking your site analysis and making sure all your data lines up with utilities, drainage, and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. Double checking it left and right and left and right. So I'm curious from your perspective, where do you think AI in the design world, like what we're talking about here, where do you think it is in 2 years from now?
Oh, that's such a good question because it's evolving so fast. I mean, just looking at AI last year compared to this year, the clarity and accuracy has really come to a whole new level. What I would like to see is if you could update an actual PDF or a set like a survey of some sort and be able to type in certain prompts and for it to actually read and see what's on that plan. Because right now when you do that, it doesn't understand it. It doesn't understand septic offsets. It doesn't understand contour lines. It'll talk like it will, but if you tell it to put in a pool on a 10-foot slope, it's not going to give you a 10-foot wall. Who knows what it's going to give you? But 2 years from now, I think we're really going to start to see it zoom in on the clarity and accuracy of how it can be used in an outdoor living space, where if we say we need a tiered landscape across a 5-foot slope and an infinity edge pool in the middle, I think we're going to start to see an increased level of accuracy. I still don't think it's going to be to the point of construction plans, like the point of our conversation here, but I think we're going to see a huge increase of accuracy and ability to incorporate plant specifics, material specifics, things of that nature.
Got it. Are there any warnings you have that you've seen, like you've tried it, it doesn't work, and you had to really watch it, like with AI? Is there any warnings you could have to the listeners that when they try this to be careful for?
The main thing I would say is anything related to grades, and then of course, which in turn leads to drainage. Because AI may take an image and misinterpret the way the yard is sloping or the way the water's pitching. AI, of course, doesn't know if there's a 10-foot slope in the far backyard and all this water's pitching down the hill. So regardless of what that image produces, it's really important for you to stand in that backyard and just take a complete note of your surroundings, because AI is not going to know if you need to incorporate a French drain across the backside of the patio so you don't have water issues a couple years down the road during the freeze-thaw cycle. So it's really critical to, the images are great, they're beautiful, they look phenomenal, but always get out there and put your own 2 cents into it and be like, hey, we really need a way to handle this grading or this drainage, things of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I have a feeling that we're going to have this conversation in a few months from now, and it'll be even newer and different. And holy moly, do you believe it can do this now? Yeah. And it'll keep building, because you think about it, when they start a big, software platform like this, if you will, or this new concept, they start out with a 35,000 foot view, and over time, developers bring it in, and pretty soon it's 5 inches away, not 35,000 foot, and that's what we're doing. We're slowly getting there. Yeah, and it's going to massively disrupt how design is done. I mean, it's already massively disrupting how the legal world is doing work. I mean, you think about it, like there's times now where like we just did some contractual stuff, and I'm going on there and asking it, okay, make this compliant in Pennsylvania. I'm sending this out to my attorney to put his eyes on it. It's like, there's like 2 little adjustments here. Here you go. Yeah. Right. So I'm like, what do attorneys do? Well, at the end of the day, AI can't show up in a courtroom. Right. AI is not going to double check. AI is not going to be held accountable for what it says, right? Yep. At the end of the day, the lawyer still has to stand there and be accountable to what he or she is thinking or agreeing to, or has, created or whatever it might be. And they have to be physically present for other humans, right? Mm-hmm. So same with design. At the end of the day, people are still looking for your leadership, listeners, and how do we utilize this tool in order to get to that question of what's it going to look like as fast as possible, and then what's it going to cost me, right? Yeah. So getting those 2 things nailed down as fast as possible, and that's where it gets a little bit bumpy here, because homeowners go on and they get the picture. Then what's the next question they ask? Yeah. How much is it going to cost me? Yeah. How much is it going to cost me? Well, before that, like, how much can I even afford this thing? Yeah. And then AI is like, well, yeah, it's like, that entire Costa Rican backyard is going to be, with a pool and 15 water slides and all these waterfalls into it and all these luscious plantings and all of this stuff is going to cost you $9,800. Yeah. Right? Yeah, you're like, where are you coming up with this crap? So we have to be careful, right? Especially from the sales side, we got to be very careful that AI is far, far away from getting numbers accurate with things like that. Yeah. So when homeowners take it as the gospel, and they look at it like, oh, well, AI told me that my new patio should be $13,000 because that's what it found. Yeah. And you're like, is AI going to come out and build that patio for you for $13,000? Right. Exactly. And you're like, well, no, but we can find people. It says it right here. It's possible. Yeah. Go ahead. Find people that'll do it at a quality level that's going to last you more than 6 months. Right. Exactly. So, but when people start using these things, they don't know any better. They just take it for truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even all through Google, that's all changing, right? As far as how they're even ranking websites and all this kind of stuff. And so the world is changing fast is my point. And people are trying to keep up with what is truth.
Yeah.
What is real. That we used to complain about HGTV being a big buzzkill for homeowners when they realized they couldn't just give a contractor, $1,000 and a 6-pack and he can get it done in a weekend, an entire backyard renovation, because they saw that happen every Thursday night on HGTV. And we thought, oh my goodness, but imagine how much awareness they brought to upgrading and building a backyard and what was possible.
Yeah.
So we've got to look at that as a blessing, not a curse.
Yeah.
So we see it as a blessing that they brought awareness to what was possible in the backyard, even if it was completely irrational on how they said it.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. The point is that people are like, well, what can I do with my backyard? And then all of a sudden, this entire industry was born, right?
Yeah.
30 years ago, this was not what it is now. I know it was not at all like that when I first started. It is all changed now.
Yeah.
And outdoor living is becoming more and more of, instead of a nice to have, a part of the entire architecture of the home.
Yeah.
Right? The extension of living space that goes beyond the walls. And before it was, I'm happy to have a house. Yeah. Now it's, I want a house as a guarantee. And now I want a space that I can be proud of. Like that is happening. That evolution of thought is becoming more and more prevalent every day. It's an expectation now, not only what the rich have, the 1% have, right?
Yeah.
So everybody wants their hands in on this.
Yeah.
And so now we have to, as designers and as professionals in this industry, we've got to figure out how we can streamline this. And AI is the way to do it, right? To start streamlining this process to be able to free up your time so that you can be most effective serving your customers and figure out exactly what that is for you. But I don't believe that the value of a designer to build company with a designers in-house or even out is going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of seeing it differently and adjusting your role in that. Maybe you're not the big idea guy or girl anymore, and that was your thing before. And now you're about getting the idea built and being creative in that. There has to be some adjustment and some adaptation.
Yeah.
But if you think you're going to be the person that's always going to be the big idea person, they can go to a robot for $20 a month and have ideas come out of it. Yeah. You're going to be knocked out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the homeowner's looking at us too as professionals about how we can actually bring these ideas to life. So we're able to create these beautiful images and stuff, but when you're meeting with that homeowner, they're looking at you saying, okay, is this going to be the guy that can actually make these dreams come true? Are they going to be able to show up with a team and build this image that I'm looking at on my phone right now? And as professionals, it's our job to really educate the homeowner on how that process is going to come to life, but also educate them from a financial perspective. Like, I know ChatGPT just told you this project's half the cost of what it actually is, but let me spell out for you why this project costs X amount of dollars. Because the homeowners, what they read online, they may automatically believe. So we need to walk them through the process of, this is a beautiful backyard with this incredible pool, but it's also going to be X amount of dollars, but here's why.
It's all about setting expectations, right? It's so important. A whole nother chapter in the book is about setting expectations. Because when you can set them and deliver on or above them, the entire sales process becomes so much smoother for both sides.
100%.
But when you say, hey, you set an expectation of $100,000 for the project and your bid comes in at 150, we've got a big delta there.
Yeah.
And now how are you justifying that? And is that your mistake or was that AI? Like, where did the $100,000 expectation come from? Are you guessing? Like, so much of that is all set up and ready to deliver in a proper sales system, right?
Yeah.
That's all done ahead of time to make sure we have agreements and setting an expectation of what's to come so that we can both agree it's the right path forward. And when we do, the entire sales process goes so much smoother.
Yeah.
But it all starts with understanding and having clarity around what, and confidence, obviously, around what you're saying, specifically around numbers, because those things are important, very important to customers.
Yeah.
But, man, I appreciate you coming on here, Ryan, and sharing. This has been great. Any last thoughts you have on AI and the partnership between AI and HI that our listeners should be thinking about here as we move forward in this very exciting part of a time of life?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said a little bit last week too, don't be afraid to take that first step. Try typing in a few different prompts and talk with AI as if it's your coach. Have them help you type in the right prompts to get the images you're looking for, but also maybe use it on the HI perspective as well, where you're like, hey, am I covering all my bases here with this designer? Here's my proposal. Am I covering all the things that I need to take into account with a project of this magnitude? It's there to help you. It's going to be your coach, and you can really bounce any questions off of it. And it's going to give you a pretty good insight on, hey, maybe you didn't take into account drainage on this project. You might want to take into account here or there. So always be approaching AI with your own personal professionalism to make sure you're covering all your bases and double checking all your work, but also take full advantage of the creativity behind the AI process, because it's going to help you save a tremendous amount of time on a weekly basis.
Man, I love that, listeners. I'm just going to say it again. Put your proposals through AI and ask it to find gaps, and ask it to ask you questions. That's the cool part. Ask me 10 questions to make sure that this proposal is bulletproof. Now, It's not perfect, but it sees it from a different perspective. It's like handing it to somebody else in your team and having them look through it. Yep. And it learns. That's the cool part. It learns and remembers now. So it'll learn, and you say, okay, you can upload a certain proposal. Like, this is the ideal proposal. Focus everything based on this one. And then it'll look at for any discrepancies, or it'll just read through and say, have you thought about drainage? I don't see any drainage in here, Ryan. Have you thought about that? Or you don't mention the exact paver in here. Did you have one in mind? Like, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I almost missed that. But it's not perfect, but what it will do is it will give you the opportunity to have someone do a quick check on things. And you're going to be like, whoa, what's going on? And all for $20 a month. It's pretty wild, dude.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth every penny. And it'll once you get the hang of it and you get into a flow, and it also learns about you and your process, it's going to change your day-to-day habits.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, listeners, hope you got as much out of this interview as I did with Ryan. I always enjoy having amazing people like him on here. Yeah. Ryan, how can people find you? And if they're looking for someone to do that design work for them, how can they find you and at least find out what you're doing?
Yeah. So for social media, that's the easiest and fastest way to reach me. It's just King Landscape Design. Email Ryan at King Landscape Design, and my website's kinglandscapedesign.com. So any of those options are phenomenal ways to reach out. And then I'd be more than happy to have the conversation with you.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, I appreciate you coming back on, brother. This has been great. Listeners, I hope you got as much. And you know what? I can't wait to talk to you next week. So keep on keeping on.
Awesome.